Welcome back, listeners. I am here with Scott Kallick, and he is a profit acceleration specialist. So you're going to want to stick with us here, and you're going to absorb some amazing pearls of wisdom from this man who I've had the pleasure of knowing for the last few months. And he has been an amazing strategic alliance for me. And I am so grateful that we were connected. And so welcome, Scott.
Thank you, and feelings mutual. It's been a wonderful connection for me as well, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you and seeing how you operate, and connecting you with some people in my sphere as well. So
Yeah, I love it. And it's all about helping other entrepreneurs rise up, right? So that we can all be
that's what
great
it's all
together.
about.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you on here. So you started your career out in a whole different arena. So tell me a little bit about that.
yeah. I would call myself a serial entrepreneur. I started my first company many, many, many years ago, 1988. I bought a small little boutique company. Grew up in Chicago. And I moved to Pittsburgh in
hmm
1988. Bought a small little boutique company. Didn't know a soul there. Pittsburgh, back then and probably now, it's a very provincial city, so it's very difficult to break into.
Mm,
But you know, having the kind of the Midwestern work ethos, I worked hard and over 25 years built it up to from a small little boutique company where we start out with a couple employees to 50 employees, mid market, best in
wow.
class, best in service company. It was a great ride, a great journey. I really feel blessed to have been able to go through it. I was able to negotiate an exit for the company, which was a multi-billion dollar company. And then I took a position with them. I wanted to kind of see what the corporate world was all about. And I took a position with them.
hmm
Stayed there for 4.5 years. Kind of walked away pretty unimpressed with the corporate world. Just didn't really speak to me. It didn't speak to the way that I wanted to treat the employees that I had. It didn't speak to me with their vision, with the way they communicated, operated. So it was really time for me to move on. I got doing some coaching, working with startups initially. And a couple of years ago, I pivoted to working with more experienced, mature companies in a profit acceleration mode, which has been pretty fulfilling lately. I've really been enjoying doing that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, you, because of your knowledge and your background and being able to turn your boutique into this super profitable company, you then took those skills that you created with that, and now you help other entrepreneurs build their business in the same type of fashion using those skill sets. So, tell me a little bit about what motivates you to want to help other entrepreneurs in this space.
For me, the entrepreneurial journey is one of the most empowering, exciting, self fulfilling journeys anybody can take. My dad was an accountant, and I remember as a kid, he telling me, you owe it to yourself to have your own company. And,
Mm,
through your own company, you manifest certain things. You manifest your creativity, you manifest your problem solving, you manifest really learning how to deal with almost any issue that comes up on your own. We don't need help. We all do need help. We all do need mentorship, and we all do need people to talk to and people to bounce things off. And day to day, like Harry Truman said, the buck stops here. You got to figure out how to get through the days, how to deal with your issues, and we all have them. There's bumps in the road. I like to think about it like if you're hiking up the mountain, and I live in Colorado now, so I do that a lot. But you go on a hike, and all of a sudden, you're hiking along, and you're like, hey, this is pretty nice. And then you look up and you realize, hey, that's a 15% grade up there. I got to get to the top of that thing.
mhm.
And you realize, what, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be breathing pretty hard by the time I get up there, and I'm going to be pretty tired. But you know what? I'm going to do it. And that's kind of what being an entrepreneur is all about. It's like, yeah, you go along and things are going pretty well, and you're on a nice win streak, and then you realize, you know what? Things just got tough, and I got to get through this. I got to get to the top of the top of that mountain, the top of that hill, and that's the cool thing about it. That's why people go on those kind of hikes, because they can say, "Hey, I did it." I got
Right?
to the top of that thing.
And I love your analogy of the hike. So, like, as a coach and as an expert in your field and someone who helps push people up that mountain, so to speak, right? Or that hill, you can climb the hill as an entrepreneur with nothing in your toolbox, right? And
You
then you
can.
can also climb the hill with a lot of tools in the toolbox. And you essentially are the toolbox, right? You are what catapults them forward and helps to push them. What are some of the challenges, common challenges that you see entrepreneurs face?
Couple things. I mean, one of the things that gets in the way with a lot of people running companies is it's just overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I have these things in front of me. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to dig in. I've got three or four things I'm dealing with. What do I do first? So that's one. And another one is just having the foresight to see things coming and deal with them now. Because a lot of times, and I was guilty of this as well, at times where you see something coming. Like, for instance, a key employee resigns. And they give you 2 weeks' notice. And you're like, okay, I got 2 weeks. Well, that's the time to start a search, get something in place. But a lot of times people just say, okay, they left, and now all this stuff gets dumped on me, and I got to figure it out, and I got to do my job and their job, and all these things just fall on. They don't have the foresight or the action within that foresight to really deal with things right now. So it's just like accepting what is and dealing with it from that point, or waiting until everything tumbles down on you, and then having
Yeah,
to get your
like
shovel out and really start digging.
yeah, like being more reactive instead of proactive. You see that a
Exactly.
lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting. What other challenges do you see that are common?
Deal with money. I mean, money is very real, but it's also a context in a lot of ways, and you can look at it in a lot of different ways. But, I was just working with a client this morning, and we were talking about money, and it's like, it's no different than if you want to lose weight, okay?
Hmm.
If you want to lose weight, you put together a plan and you deal with it. And I'm not talking about people who have internal thyroid issues and that type of thing. I'm talking about most of us. So at the end of the day, eating too much or not burning enough calories off. So, putting together that plan and saying, hey, if I want to lose 15 pounds or 20 pounds, then I have to adjust that balance of mine. I have to burn off 100 more
Yeah.
calories than I'm bringing in every day, whatever that might look like. If I'm not getting enough exercise, I got to get out and exercise 45 minutes to an hour every day so I can burn off what I'm bringing in and start losing some weight. It's the same with money. I mean, money's the same way. You can get really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I don't have enough. And I don't care how much you have, you always feel like you don't have enough. Or you can put together a plan and say, hey, this is what's coming in, this is what's going out. Where do I make that adjustment?
Yeah, I love that. I love the analogies because it really puts it into context. Like, yeah, calories out, calories in, and there's a fine balance. Same with your finances. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Give me a story about one of your clients that you've helped recently and like a testimonial.
So, yeah, I've been working with a client, someone I would say that extremely talented person. In her practice, she felt limited on where she was going financially. We've been working together, and she's had several breakthroughs as far as, hey, you know what? I felt like my ceiling was at 10 feet. As we've been working together and applying some of the things we've been talking about, but really from a standpoint of her self-limiting beliefs, she now sees her ceiling at 100 feet.
Love it.
She no longer sees where she is. Hey, this is where it's going to be. She sees a much higher ceiling. And last month, she doubled her income. I'm guessing in the next month or so, she's going to redouble it.
Hmm.
So it's out there. And the only thing really limiting her, that wasn't me who did that for her. That was her. It was a process for her of holding the space for her where she could really begin to see a different future for herself.
That's so amazing. And she has told me herself, we've become very, very close, that the tools that you are utilizing with her, the business consulting, the amount of coaching, the tools that you bring are really making a profound difference for her business. And I absolutely love that the tools that you are using are the shift that she needs, the motivation, the belief, everything about it. She says it's just been absolutely amazing in working with you, and it's made such a profound difference. I do love hearing firsthand how working with you has made such a difference in her business. And I know the lives that you touch also, I'm sure you have tons of testimonials from clients that you've worked with. And so it's
You know,
amazing to hear that.
I mean, look, I'm still on my entrepreneurial journey. This is my business, and this is how I run it. From the standpoint of building a business and building a company, I've had my day. It's been great. It's been wonderful. and this is my new journey. And this is to see other entrepreneurs begin to manifest themselves and live the lives that they deserve and they want. That's what it's all about for me at this point in my life.
Yeah. I've noticed that you've used the word manifest quite often. Tell me a little bit more about like what that means to you and how you get your clients to manifest their vision. I think for a lot of people, they struggle with knowing what it is that they want.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real power in getting people to, number one, articulate their vision. Number
Hmm.
two, really begin to get clarity on it. And then once that happens, it's a process for them of beginning to live it. Okay, this is what it looks like. I'm going to start living my vision. These are the steps that I need to take to get there. This is when I want it to happen. You know, the only thing really standing in our own way is ourselves. I mean, I know for me, like I can say, hey, at the beginning of every year, I write down, okay, this is what I want to see happen this year, and sometimes I get there. Sometimes I get 80% of the way there. Sometimes I get 75% of the way there, and it's okay, you know, because for me, it's my vision, and you know, and I've learned to say to myself, to give myself grace, and say, okay, it's okay if I get part of the way there because I'm going to get there. I just didn't get there in the time that I wanted to, but I'm still going to get there. It's like, okay, I took a cross country trip a few weeks back, you know, drove from Pittsburgh out to Colorado. And it took 5 days. I did a little detour. But if my car had broken down and it'd taken me a couple extra days, okay, I would have dealt with it. You know, would have been a little frustrated, but I would have dealt with it. Still would have gotten there. It's the same kind of paradigm.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're going to run into some things. You may blow a tire. Something may happen that holds you up, but you're going to get there because you want to get there because it's important to you. And once you have that vision of and the clarity of saying this is what it's going to look like when I get there, it makes it easier from one perspective. It makes it easier that now you know you still got to put the work in. You still got to do it.
Yeah. So that's part of what you do is like if somebody does not know what their maybe like their 10x goal or they have this teeny tiny little vision and you coach them on how to dream bigger and like how to think kind of outside the box because of course you know as we know if you knew how to do it currently in your state that you're in you would be doing it. And this is why we have you as a consultant coming in and saying, no, let's challenge those beliefs. Let's make it bigger. Let's grow and let's utilize these tools. And so that's the power of having you in their corner is being able to stretch and grow, right?
You know, I started working with a client, and he's got a great vision. He's in the travel industry, wonderful vision of what he wants to create. But when I asked him, we're working together in a year, I mean, he told me a number that I said, hey, what would it look like if it was 5 times like 5 times that much?
Mm-hmm.
And floored him. Like, wow, you know. But as he started to process that, his whole vision changed for what he wanted to do. You know, he started articulating, well, you know, I'm going to have to hire some more people, and I'm going to have to put this person in that position and this person in that position, bring in someone who's got this set of skills.
Mm-hmm.
It just in real time, he really began to really reimagine his business
That whole
and take a
shift.
look,
Yeah.
and he's on his way there now.
Wow. That's profound.
Yeah.
So profound. So when somebody comes to you and decides they want to work with you, what does that process look like?
So initially, you know, I engage people. I've been writing a book on profit acceleration, and initially, what I'll do is I'll ask them to interview for my book because I'm putting out a second edition, and I want to get people's number one how they're integrating some of the ideas of it. And I get a chance to learn about their industry and a little bit about them as we're doing that. If they've gotten something out of that process, then we kind of go to a next phase, which typically looks like an assessment, which I'll
Mm-hmm.
give them an assessment on their business. Opens up some real ideas for them as far as identifying some opportunities in their business and some gaps that they have. At that point, we can take a look and see if we're fit to work together. I'm not for everybody, not everybody's for me. And so
Yeah.
it's a process of kind of digging in and saying, hey, you know what, if we were to work together, what would this look like? What would this cost? What would you want to get out of it? And I'm okay. I mean, if people say, hey, you know what, it's too much, you're not for me, it's
Yeah.
fine. Refer them on to somebody else who might be a better fit. On the other side, just wish them good luck and say, hey, best to you.
Yeah.
Go at it. Call me sometime if there's a better time.
So when because you've had this amazing career, you are now on a whole different path. when you leave this earth, what is it that you hope people know you for? Like, what do you want to be known for?
That's such a beautiful question. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think about my legacy a lot. For me, it's a legacy of leadership. It's a legacy of showing up the way that I can admire myself. To me, the last, probably since I sold my business in 2013, I left the company I was working with in 2000, late 2017. So the last 6, 7 years for me have been a journey of self love, of learning to look at myself in a different way, self acceptance, understanding my leadership better.
Mm-hmm.
I see some of the flaws that I had as a leader in my business. It was a great journey. It was successful, but looking back, I realized I was a flawed leader in some ways, and it's a way to understand that, to reflect back to other people and have them look at themselves in a leadership role, not in their business, but in their families and their lives with their friends. My legacy, what I like to build is just having people accept themselves to a better level, accept
Mm,
others, and live their dreams.
I love it.
I'm living my dream in a lot of ways. I live at 8,600 feet in the mountains. I live on a golf
Yeah.
course. I work from 6 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My afternoons are for me and for my dogs, and this is really what I want to be doing.
That's awesome. I can attest. You're always on vacation. seems like seems like you're always somewhere, which is awesome, and living the lifestyle that you desire and want, which is amazing. And so I love that you help others get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's finding the freedom to
Yeah.
say, hey, I can live the life I want through my business. I can create the wealth that I want through my business. When the time comes for me to A, step aside, take a lesser role in my business, let other leadership step up, B, sell my business, C, turn it over multi-generational. I'm going to have enough to live the life that I want to live. That's what, the freedom of having a business is all about.
Yeah. Very cool. What is something unique about you that sets you apart from your competition?
Mm. Another great question. So look at myself a little, as more than a coach. I mean, a lot of people out there are coaches, and it's a great thing to do. For me, I'm a profit acceleration specialist, which takes into some coaching. I've had professionally trained life coach, so I have that in my quiver. I've also run a company for 25 years. I've walked the walk. Those are some of the things that set me apart from others. I bring a unique perspective to businesses. I love the creativity of the business, the potential for creativity, freedom of being your own boss, but also running a company you want. And I'll use the word manifest again. You can manifest your company the way you want. You can do it the way nobody else has ever done it. What a cool, great thing that is to do. Like, I'm not trashing anybody here, but there's coaches out there who will say, this is how to do this, A, B, C, D. To me, the power is from inside. It's who
Mm-hmm.
you are. It's how you want to run your business. It's what you want to be in your business. To be able to let people just run, go and do that. Go be who you are. It's enough.
Yeah. That authentic piece, right?
Yeah.
That, like, I love systems. I love systems. However, the system has to fit you. And so I'm sure that you can relate to that a little bit where, someone says, all you do is A, B, and C. And then you're like, you find that you're adopting A, B, and C and you're doing it. And then you're like, wait a minute, like something's missing. Or I get to C and something feels weird or something of that nature. And then you're like, okay, authentically, I need to add in a step or I need to make it my own, uniquely me. And I love that you're really honing in on that authentic piece because that is so important. We could have 20 of the same businesses all lined up, but we're all going to do them a little differently based on our background and who we are and what experience we bring to the table. And
Right.
so, yeah, that authentic piece is just a huge component. It has to feel good. It has to sit right. It has to match your ethics and your beliefs, and that kind of thing. So systems are great. They're especially great when they line up with who you are.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
No, I mean, and
And so
I've got a platform that takes people through how to do things. But you're right.
yeah.
And the one thing you touched on, which is the part about ethical,
Yeah.
working through integrity and honor. That is, to me, that's
Mm-hmm.
key. People have to be able to work through integrity and deal with things in a way that's authentic to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, how would someone get a hold of you when they want to work with you?
they can reach out to me directly at my web email, which is
Hmm.
SKALLICK, Scott Kallick, skallick.58 at gmail.com.
Okay.
My website,
Okay.
scott at scottkallick.com. Those are probably the two best ways to reach out to me. So,
Wonderful. And any last pearls of wisdom that you have for our audience today? Anything that's like been so profound in your leadership style that you're like, oh my gosh, like if I could be standing next to the president or, somebody famous and I had the, like, say Tony Robbins says, here's the stage and here's the microphone for 3 minutes, what is it that you would share?
well, we already kind of touched on it. It's inside all of us. What you have is enough.
Yeah.
If you are who you are, you're authentically yourself, you work through integrity, you work through honor, it's enough. It's
Hmm.
enough. And what you have inside of you, even if you haven't found it yet, if you haven't discovered it yet, it's enough to push you to heights are probably unimaginable to any of us.
But it has been a profound hour with you. I am so grateful for your time, and I appreciate you spending this moments sharing your knowledge with my audience. And I look forward to many more conversations. We've had some wonderful conversations in the past. I look forward to many, many more of them. And listeners, if you're ready to kickstart your journey in entrepreneurship, Scott is absolutely amazing. I will go ahead and share his information in the show notes. Like and subscribe, share this with another entrepreneur that you know. We need you to grow this and help us grow this podcast. And we appreciate you and your time and what you've invested into us. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.